He's a boy that has UNEB in 4-5 months. He's already emotionally down. Yeah? The least you can do is say smack bottled it. It is okay, generalize it. But you come out and pick on an individual boy. He's going back to school, he has papers. He's already emotionally down, he's lost the final, he's in Form 6. He feels like it was on him that they all lost. Yeah? I feel, because I interact with these boys, I'm told, man, maybe they've gone for papers at school. Some don't even want to sit for papers. Some want to go back home. And then I feel like picking out straight on them, these are boys that they're not yet mature emotionally to take on all this.
That feeling, like, because I actually sometimes I also want to be a bit random, and I tweet my things also.
Yeah.
So I did tweet something saying that, man, that awkward moment when you're in the bus and they under 15 and under 17 you've won your trophy, but the other 20 guys are not won their trophy.
You can't make noise.
So
my favorite food. Muslims are fasting. I guess that's good enough an answer.
Sorry. Two things have kept us on our toes in the last week. That has been the unpredictable weather, from the heat to the rain, and also the rugby that has been swinging from high school rugby to the club rugby. But welcome to another edition of the Fat Cats podcast. My name is Ruben Kihumuro, and another day, another opportunity for candid rugby conversations. Here with yet another guest that has been a hot topic when it comes to schools rugby, and also influential with one of the biggest teams in the country. And we're going to just get to dive deep and understand a lot more about him. But he is, I don't know if he's still very, very active, but he is an Impis player. He is coach of SMAC. SMAC is St. Mary's College Kisubi, and also a former player of the SMAC Eagles, as well as a champion in 2 different generations, as termed by someone. Ladies and gentlemen, Alvin Nkamba, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Ruben.
I don't know if you've had chance to watch a couple of podcasts before or listen to some of them. Do you have any particular favorites from the past?
One of my favorite podcasts from the past is, I don't know if it's the most recent one, with Aaron Ofoeroth. Yeah, I really loved the whole story that was captured and his whole journey in rugby. It was a very wonderful piece to listen to and watch.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's just start from that last statement that was made. A champion in 2 different generations.
Yes, please.
When someone was making that statement, what did they mean?
Champion in 2 different generations. In my understanding, when I got to hear or read that statement, I was looking at 2016.
Yeah.
This was a year that started off on a very low for us that went in school. I was in Form 6 by then at St. Mary's College Kisubi.
Okay.
It wasn't the best of starts, so I will not get down to detail, but my classmates know what happened. And here we are. We have a journey.
Yeah.
Traveled to Nsanji, which was one of the worst places for anyone in high school to go to play rugby. It was to play Hana. I had never been on a pitch whereby we are conceding, I think we conceded about 40 points. I had never seen that happen when I'm on the field playing, but well, we tried our best. Okay. So this segment of champion in 2 generations, I believe 2016 we emerged as Schools League champions, getting a win over a team that had whitewashed us in the first game week at one of the, I should say, best fields we could have actually won from. That was at Namilyango. We lifted our trophy from Namilyango College, beating Hana.
Those pictures don't sit well with me. So, yeah, definitely, I get what you're saying.
We had no supporters that day. I think you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So then later on, a few years down the road, this is Alvin Nkamba coming into the picture and, coaching the boys. And we traveled to Huye, Rwanda, and we are East African champions. That's last year.
Okay.
So that's what that's in my thought, that's what I believe this person meant when they say champion in 2 generations.
Yeah, so there's a lot we have to dive in, but just starting from the most recent, do you think you as a person have recovered from what happened on Sunday? Of course, you did do better than last year, where under 15, under 17, and under 20 were all lost. To this year, at least the trophies in under 15 and under 17, but the coveted under 20 that everyone looks out for, you missed out on that one. Have you recovered from that yet?
Personally, on the day, that was Sunday 7th, I'll not forget the date. I don't think anytime soon. I was a bit down. That was the full-time whistle.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Payo and Emwok, coaches of Namilyango, right at the end of the game. And after that conversation we had, that was actually the time I recovered personally.
Yeah.
At that point, I knew there was no room for me to be down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all these boys were down and whatnot, so it had to be me. It couldn't be me being in their faces and showing them, you know what, even your coach is feeling like, you know, it's the end of the world and something like that. So I actually had to step up, and I looked at the bigger picture. Getting the under 15 and under 17 wins in my thinking gets me thinking that the future is bright.
Yeah.
If we could dominate under 15, under 17, your comfortable wins on the day.
Yeah.
That means maybe, you know, next 2-3 years, we have a team in the final. So looking at the under 20, my boys were really down on the day. They felt like they'd given it their all.
At that moment, what do you even tell those boys? I mean, some of them, of course, had experienced last year and this year. What do you even say to them? Because personally, I have a big problem with consoling people. I don't know how to console people. I just can't sit there with you and we all be sad together, but I don't know how to console. So what do you even tell these guys after going through such heartbreak?
One of the things that helps me is, personally, when I look at these boys, it's not like I'm coaching or teaching rugby to people I do not know. Most of these boys I push to at least get to know them to a personal basis. So one, I was so glad that their parents, actually 99% of them had their parents around. That's a first consoling point.
Yeah.
You know, a parent, that support system, like the coach can't do much. But I was so happy at full time, their parents are running down to them, they're hugging them and telling them, you did well. Yeah. In our days, we didn't have these, like, you'd play and your parent is like, should I find you on the pitch? But I was so happy their parents were around. I didn't have much to say. Just gave them a few words of encouragement, told them we have more tournaments coming up. We have the Nationals in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
We'll be in Ndeje. And it's a tournament that you can get to reestablish yourself. And their parents did the most. They comforted them, gave them good words. Their parents promised to support them in the forthcoming tournaments. So it wasn't the best of evenings, but I feel like it wasn't actually the worst for them as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
But besides that, you as Alvin Nkamba,
Yes, please.
what mantra do you live your life by?
I'll start with a statement that governs me.
Yeah.
And I use it in most of the things I start up, which is settle for nothing less than the best.
Settle
for nothing less than the best.
for nothing less than the best.
Yeah. What this statement gets down to mean doesn't mean it doesn't ideally come out to mean that, say, you should be on the top 24/7, but ideally it is. Now, when we get down to rugby speaking terms, are you dominating the basics, the principles of the game? Are you disciplined? Are you getting the bond with others? Are you catching up with the rest? Do you have the skill set in? Yeah. Because year in, year out, these boys come out, and the most we can do is we have them in school. When they come out of school, there's not much we can do.
Yes.
Because they go different directions, different clubs, different countries. But when you look at high school setup, you look at settle for nothing less than the best. I'm looking at, as a kicker, when I look at all the boys that have to be kicking in the different years in SMAC, I can openly tell you, if you come to the college, you will find, currently I could say the best kicker we have in SMAC is Matthew Musasizi. But openly tell you, you'll find a Form 3. I'm mentioning him, Daniel Musyoka. I think he's in Senior 3 right now. He gives Matthew a run for his money on the pitch when they're kicking. Okay. Look at the Senior 4 kicker. He was top on Sunday for under 17. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm trying to share. Like the different specs in the game, you should be the best.
Yeah.
Now collectively, it's the win that comes out after you have gotten the best out of every single department. Yeah. So that's why that statement comes in everything I do, from life to rugby and whatnot.
Yeah, and outside the rugby, of course, I'm saying you're dressed very smartly, unlike me, who's very, very casual.
I wouldn't love to be dressed like this.
I know no one that has gotten accustomed to a rugby Saturday would want to be dressed like that, but you know, capitalism wins most of the times. Besides the rugby, what do you do? What should people know that this is not only what Coach Nkamba does as a coach, but this is what else he does?
All right. Nkamba Alvin Aaron is a civil engineer.
Civil engineer.
Graduated. Got my bachelor's in civil engineering in 2022. Just I think 2 weeks back, I did get my second degree in construction law and management. So ideally, when it gets down to the engineering field, I'm also not settling for less than the best.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the field I'm in. Construction. I have a small franchise, I should say, I'm starting up.
Okay.
Still in the grassroots. It's called the Builder 256.
Okay.
We've done a few contracts in Makerere University, a few private contracts. Yeah.
So now, civil engineering, you've just finished books, but yes, you're very busy. You have a franchise coming up. You're a coach. You also want to play for Impis. So tell me, where do you get the time to do all those things? I mean, there are only 24 hours, of which you have to sleep for some of them.
Personally, I believe you always make time for what you want.
Yeah.
I don't believe in I don't have time for that. The moment you don't have time for something, you're not interested in it.
You're not interested. You're invested in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the key things I always request of my superiors, that's my bosses, is I'd love to work under targets.
Targets.
Yes. So say Alvin Nkamba, we have project A, B, C, D. And what we require of you is we need these reports ready by this time and whatnot. So I put all those down on my schedule, and I know if I'm active at work from 8 a.m. till say 1, 2 p.m., I could be able to present this. Then maybe 2 p.m. to the rest of the time. I love watching rugby. Hope my boss is not listening to this. I use the Wi-Fi so much to watch rugby.
But I mean, most of the people that are even in offices after lunch, I don't think they're doing a lot of constructive work, because sometimes you're tired, you've been going through so many assignments. So I totally understand. But I don't know if you face the challenges of having a bit of rigidity, or let me say old school working environments where they do not believe in that kind of mindset that you're talking about, that if I have my KPIs, if I have my to-do for the week, you don't need to police me around, or I don't need to be seated in the office the whole time, as long as I can get my work done by the deadlines. I don't know if you've had any luck in that, to have systems that are flexible enough to accommodate everything you do?
It's not the easiest. We go through a lot of hardships with our bosses at work. But in the end, like I told you, your boss is not okay with you being away. He wants to see you till 5.
Yes.
He wants to see you walk out at 5:30, at 5. But you're telling him, I have this. And I feel like it's more of building that relationship, which is one of the things I've learned. Personally, my boss is not my boss at work. He is like my father. He's like, I know, like a way older brother than me at work. Because it's more of, we sit down, he knows I coach rugby, he knows I play rugby. He actually at times asks me if you're in the office till 2:30, 3 p.m. He's like, today what are your boys going to do? Like, it's that relationship I've built with him. He knows I'll deliver when I'm needed.
Okay.
I'll be available when I'm needed. But when it comes down to, say, the sports and whatnot. Now, for example, the time we went to Huye, Rwanda last year, I had used up all my days of leave at work. Now, this is me that wants to be away from work for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I woke up to his office and I'm like, excuse me, engineer, we're going to be traveling to Rwanda. We may be there for about 10 days and I'm requesting for your permission to travel. He told me, what are you going to do in Rwanda? I told him, I'm taking my boys to play rugby. There's this African Schools Championship. His reply was, all the best. Good luck.
Really?
That's what he told me. Though when you're there, of course, he kept calling me, Alvin, I need this done. Send it to my email by this time. So to keep that rapport, I'd also make sure whatever he needs of me is with him.
You have to be dependable and you still deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why currently, I would say I'm a bit comfortable where I am because I'm able to. You asked the question earlier about me being active. Yeah, I've played for the Impy second side. I've been returning. I'd been out for about 2 years without playing.
When did you return? I mean, you have coaching. You have the responsibility of coaching. Now you want to add playing. Why?
Rugby, I believe, is the biggest addiction for anyone.
That's true, though.
I find it so hard to sit in the stands and watch a game. I'll be like, next weekend I want to be running on that pitch. It's difficult. I decided to leave the game. I was 2 years back, but slowly you find yourself passing a ball, kicking. And it hasn't been a bad return for me. I've played 5 games so far. Won 3, lost 2. 2 Man of the Match awards in those 2 games I've played. So I feel like slowly, with my coaches at club at Impis, I'll find myself back in the league. And I believe I should be able to give it about another year or 2.
Okay. Yeah, but anyway, just talking about a bit of the background. Generally, was rugby your first sport? Did you start with rugby? How did you get into sport in general?
Okay, how did I get into sport? This, I think, dates back down to my days in primary school. I was at Green Hill Academy.
KKL?
UGL, Uganda Junior League, yes. We had different tournaments. The league in Dogos, we used to go to Mombasa. Was it Nairobi? Traveled once to the US for soccer at a very young age. And, soccer was a sport for everyone that was young. Yeah. We had a program. It was by a white man. I forget his name. He came through to Green Hill and introduced tag rugby. I was in P5 then. He brought rugby balls. He brought those tags and whatnot for the game. And I found it interesting. Get a ball in your hand and run around, run away from someone. So I started training that. But I think my parents had the idea of rugby. So they're like, you shouldn't be doing that at all. Yeah. I personally believe when I got that statement, you're in primary, so you have to do what your parents are telling you. I walked away from the sport. But by the time I walked away from it, at least I had the idea of passing the ball. I knew you have to pass the ball behind. I know you have to run. So I kept to my soccer until I joined, I'm going to mention a statement very many will wonder apart from those that know, until I joined King's College Budo in 2011.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's, personally, I did know that as well.
Yeah. So I joined King's College Budo in 2011. I joined Australia House. And the very first time I got to, take a shower in the evening after we've joined school, I see a chap doing push-ups with a few other guys, and he has a ripped body, and I do not know him. 2-3 days, we start going down to the field, you watch guys playing rugby. Then when I asked around, everyone is like, he's called Baron Kasozi. Yeah. So that evening, I was like, you know what, I'm going to kiss us. Let me follow him, let me ask him. I need to find out what should I do to be like him. I never watched him play though. It was just a training session. So when I walked back to Australia House, he was actually very friendly. He was very welcoming. He got to learn my name. He literally took, I should say, care of me as a big brother when I was at King's College Budo. Yeah. He taught me the sport literally from scratch. Started off as a fullback, then maybe a winger. And slowly, he got to trust me that by the time we reached senior 2, we used to have inter-hall in Budo. I was playing for the Australia House, and usually it used to be senior 5, senior 6s, and maybe a few form 4s. But by my form 2, I played our inter-house games for Australia House, and I picked that confidence, and it was from there that in my senior 3, I think that's when I had my first start in 7s for the senior team when I was at Budo. So ideally, my rugby career, I should say, started from Green Hill, but it was mainly groomed when I joined King's College Budo in 2011.
Any particular milestones for you from your time in Budo?
At Budo, under 15, lost my final to St. Mary's College, Kisubi. It was very sad the moment. Unders then pushed through to under 17, lost to a very strong London College side. Yeah. I think that's the best London College has had, because even when they pushed through to under 20, I think they made the semi-finals the next year. lost the semi-final to London College. But I was so grateful of mainly Baron Kasozi, I should say. And the captain of there was called Ibrahim Wanome. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I think I've heard of
He was an eighth man for their team.
Is a familiar name.
Yeah, Ibrahim Wanome. Those are the guys that really, really gave me time and mentored me in the sport while I was at Budo, and I learned so much from them. Yeah.
So you are in a traditional school, the rugby, the life. Was it within your decision to switch to SMARC, or did you not want to go back to King's College Budo? Why did you make that switch? Because normally people, especially in these traditional schools, when I choose to start one school, usually that's where I want to do my entire 6 years from.
Yeah, what happened to me was when we were in primary, that's at Green Hill. We had our crew, I should say, as clique, friends and whatnot. We sat down and we agreed we're going to the same school. Let's put the same school as our first choice and see what God gives us. And the first school that we had put in mind was King's College Budo.
Okay.
And I think we used to have Saturday lessons back then.
Yeah.
So I missed that weekend because of a function, and I didn't go to school. So I did not find out that most of my colleagues picked to change that day to St. Mary's College Kisubi.
They changed?
Yes.
Okay.
So when I joined Form 1 at King's College Budo, out of the very many friends I had, I think from Green Hill we were about 8 or 10. And most of my close friends, I get to find out after 2, 3, when you're in school you can communicate, that most of them are in SMARC. So yes, I was in Budo, I loved the school, but when I hit senior 4, I said to myself,
you have to go there.
I enjoyed being with my chaps when I was in primary. I need to join my chaps and, finish off HSC with them.
Okay.
And that's how I find myself at St. Mary's College Kisubi.
So, what are some of the similarities and some of the differences of life in King's College Budo as compared to SMARC?
I'll put it at attributes. I have with time fallen in love with SMARC more and more each single day because of one, the unity that comes with being in that school. I'd love to tell you, in SMARC we have this thing of a senior as a senior,
Yes.
But away from all that, a SMARCist will never leave a SMARCist. Yeah. So it's one of the things I actually picked, and like the fact that we were united in everything we did. And there was more intention to the stuff we did as a year than when we were in Budo. In Budo it was more of you are you. Like do you, then we come together and do ABCD. Yeah. I had never sat personally, I had never sat in a students-led rugby meeting.
Oh.
Till I joined St. Mary's College Kisubi. When everyone is in a meeting, so guys, our next captain is going to be Abraham Kalievara. We need to set our goals. So in my head, I'm like, this is actually very beautiful. Like, we are setting goals. We're not on the pitch. Coach is not here. But guys in the school know what they want. And that's why with time, I felt more like a SMARCist. Even when I had spent just a week in the school, I spent more like a SMARCist than a Budonian at that point.
So rugby in SMARC, now that you have joined SMARC, of course, I don't know if it's the same thing when in SMARC, but in Emiliango, if you were coming from a different school, say King's College Budo, say especially SMARC, I want to even highlight that, especially SMARC, and you're a rugby player, there is a certain different level of scrutiny of testing that they say the survivors, ones that come from O level to A level, give you, because they want to test if you are worth the slot on the school team, if you are worth your name, because you usually pay attention to those guys. You're like, oh, so and so is that guy, he used to play rugby in SMARC, but we are always like, is he good enough? So I don't know if that kind of resistance is also there when it comes to moving from King's College Budo to SMARC and now wanting to get into the rugby culture.
I would love to say the difference. There's no big difference because I joined St. Mary's College Kisubi. First training session, we do introduce ourselves, your name, your school you're coming from, the position you play, and everyone is like, "Watcha, you're saying you can play at the wing? You're saying you can play 15?" Sawa. So as training sessions go on, you get to feel like everyone wants to prove a point at you. Guys want to see, what are you capable? Can you make the tackle? Can you put your shoulder there? Can you? Yeah. Then in the end, it's more like you have to work your way to get into the team. You have to work your way to put on a SMAC jersey. And personally, the easiest way out, because live COVID generation. In our days, we were young when we were in school. I joined senior 5 at, I think I was 16 years and a few months, because I turned 17 in senior 5. So I was like, you know what? I feel like there are kids playing under 16, because back then it was under 16. I have no problem playing with kids. Let me go on and play with kids, and maybe these guys will see I can do something sensible. That weekend we played against London College, and I played on the under 16 team. They also didn't know me, so they didn't let me start. So I came off the bench, played the game, scored a try. It was a very good game. We won. After that, from there till going forward, I was always training with the senior team at school. My senior 5, I didn't get to play the 15s for the senior team. But I played the nationals. I played the 7s on school's team. And played the East African games as well. And my Form 6 were literally the ones running the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course, for all those that are watching us, we are at the Gardens, Nigeria, enjoying our Nile special. But for all those that are looking for a space where they can have their private parties, where they can have a good time, and for all those that are also looking for an interesting quiz to have every Tuesday, look out for the Gardens, Nigeria. But even if it's any other day that you want to come around and just have a drink, have something to eat, and share a moment with friends, family, and loved ones, choose the Gardens, Nigeria. A very, very wonderful place. But yeah, so what was that first time like for you on the senior SMAC team?
I had a lot of pressure.
Definitely.
That was the blue and gold kit. Personally, it had struck my attention even when I was in Budo. I first saw it at London College.
That kit. I have some uncomfortable memories in that kit. Just to maybe cut you short, there was a circuit in Budo some time back, and that time I think the Dexters are a class above me, so we were not yet on the senior team, but there were 7s and we were on the second team, Tigons. So we go, and our first game of the day was against Eagles. There is something about SMAC. I don't know if there is too much deep heat at school. It's like everyone was using deep heat, because when you stand beside each other before you get going, everyone was smelling like deep heat, and for some reason everyone was a certain height, shorter than all of us. And we got to play, but the intensity that the SMACs came with, and I can never forget a gentleman called Ruvangu. I was sweeping, and they kicked the ball, gathered the ball, tried to kick back so that I can chase it, and the oncoming player came with his foot raised like this, and his studs met my knee. And that was the end of my circuit on that particular day. So for that particular reason, I can never forget him. But of course, it was in that jersey that you're talking about. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so this blue and gold jersey, personally, it was, I don't know, it was beautiful and scary at the same time. First time
I think it is a good jersey. I don't know why they changed to this other one now.
There is a lot to it that you'll find out why.
Okay.
So it was the London College circuit.
Yes.
SMAC comes in this blue and gold jersey, and I remember I was in Budo by then.
Yeah.
This jersey, they put the jerseys on hangers, and kids were holding them, and the players moved their head, and kids are holding the hangers. And SMAC won that circuit, and they were playing beautiful rugby, and they looked so, like the blue and gold just looked. There's a way the sun, I know, the sun hit the jerseys right, and the image was just falling right. So now this is me putting on this jersey, and it was a 7th circuit. I felt like, okay, I failed to run. The first game I actually played, I failed to run. I'm like, okay, I don't want to run out. I don't want to knock on. Let me keep the ball. I don't want to be taken off the team. Let me do the basics. So it was a bit of pressure playing in that blue and gold jersey at first. But with time I did grow up, and I did grow into the jersey, and I loved my shirt number 20. I always put on shirt number 20 whenever I was using a blue and gold kit.
Okay. Fondest moments of that particular year when you guys won. I think that's 2016,
2016,
if
yeah.
I'm not mistaken. What are your fondest memories from that year?
My fondest memory for that.
Of course, we know the given is the trophy, but of course the journey, the build up to the final. What are some of the memories that come back to mind when we talk about that?
The weekend before the final is when I can start with. Semi-final, SMAC, King's College Budo.
Yeah.
It so happens that in our year, very many Budonians left Budo and joined SMAC.
Okay.
And very many SMACists left SMAC and joined Budo. So this is a semi-final whereby we were playing against each other, we knew each other. It wasn't the easiest of games at all. I remember we went into that game knowing we had Odong, Malati, Timothy on our team.
Yes.
So in our heads, we knew, you know what, we have our style of play, but when he was a beast in high school. Okay, he still is, but back in high school, he was literally unstoppable. So in our heads, we knew we are going to do everything right, but the moment we find any resistance, we're going to look for Dong.
It's always nice to have that cheat code.
Yeah, he was our cheat code. So we knew we were going to look for Dong. So first half comes and, Budo has answers for all the questions we are asking. So we now decide to find our cheat code in a Dong. And the worst thing is being in a semi-final and your cheat code is not going through. Yeah, it took so much courage, it took so much maturity for us to actually take on that Budo team with a Budo crowd. The second time I've actually just dash away from that a bit. The second time I faced that crowd was our first game of the season this year when we were at King's College Budo.
Yes.
Personally, I was in the coaching docket, and I felt like there is no way we're coming out of here alive. A kid is shouting in your ear. He's like, "You're going nowhere, coach. Look at me. I'm not talking." Like that Budo crowd.
Those things are crazy.
And there's literally nothing. Like he's standing right behind you. All you can do is keep your focus. So in that game, the pitch is surrounded by Budonians, and they are making noise. So whenever they're in the front foot, they have the crowd up. So you have to work times to try and stop them. Now, we actually, like I said, took a lot of maturity and whatnot. We did score a try, I think, off a line out. Coach Sekate, by then, he was coaching us.
Yeah.
Worked so much on our line out. I think he knew it's one of the weapons we're going to use against Budo. We scored a try off a line out. Then the game continued, was balanced, and with, I think, about 2 minutes to play for, I'd love to tell you we're behind to King's College Budo.
I can imagine how the atmosphere was at that point.
And our fly-off then, I think, just said, let's take the risk. He puts the ball, because we're deep in our half. There's a minute to play for. He puts the ball up in the air. And the SMAC fullback does knock on, which is a scrum down. Then an arriving Budonian player is pissed at his fullback for knocking and kicks that ball. And that is now full penalty.
Full penalty.
Our prayers now go down to, we need those 3 points to enter. And we had our fullback then, that was Benson Ngono.
Yes.
I don't think I've met a kicker better than him. As we're all, because this was not a conversation we have after the pitch, I'm like, bro, we want pressure. We're scared. He's like, pressure for what? That kick was in their half. Because he sliced it straight through the poles, and I'm like, before he did that, all of us are like, what if he misses? So after the kick, he's like, guys, why were you kneeling down? Like, as in, what's up? It's just a simple kick.
Unnecessary pressure.
Yes. But we had to be on pressure. It was a long day. So personally, that was one of the biggest highlights I had in that season of the 2016 game. I feel like the final was actually much easier than Budo. Because one, in the final, we play against guys that actually knew more rugby than us. They were more experienced than us. But I'd love to say we knew what to do, which was don't miss a tackle. Anyone that watched that game will tell you, anyone that was in Namilyango will tell you, the possession of that game, I should say, was close to 99%. Hana, SMAC, maybe 1%. But we did the right things right. We made our tackles. We cleared our half as much as possible. And the day went our way. in the final. But the main highlight for me in that 2016 Schools League season was our semi-final against King's College Budo.
When you look at rugby and the culture around it then in your time and now the boys that you are mentoring, that you're coaching, is it still the same or are there particular differences?
The culture, or one I can look at the and say there are a bit of differences.
Especially now, it's a bit of a social media era. I don't know if it also affects them.
Yeah, it does affect them.
Yeah.
Let me start with one of the key talking points. Back in the day when we were in school, it was literally you going to play Namilyango, you're going to play Budo, play Hana, and no one knows about it. You don't know what everyone else there is thinking. You don't know what anyone is talking about the game. So you go do you, like it's literally a part of you in school. But currently, it so happens that one, I'd love to believe currently there's more talent in the schools than before. I'd love to believe there is more passion actually in the schools rugby than before.
Yeah.
Why I say that is you find boys having their parents cheering them on from the stands. Things that never they used to be there, but it used to be minimum. It used to be for a few chosen guys.
My parents didn't want to know about that rugby jazz, man.
But now
you're playing that game.
But I'd love to tell you now, when you look at Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday was a beautiful experience.
Just like I told you earlier, the number of parents, I was so happy to see parents putting on Smack jerseys. I was even wondering where they got them from. Yeah. But one of the things I've been doing this season at Smack is we've been giving out Man of the Match awards to the best players. And we've been giving them replicas. I think most of them are giving them to their parents. Because I saw very many parents putting on jerseys, and in my head I was like, wow, this looks beautiful. And they're running hard. You saw how dirty those boys were. And this is a mom saying, I don't worry, I don't care how dirty you are, come and give me a hug, you've played well. So I feel like it's more of there is more personality from family, and like these boys feel like it's not just them. It's not just me. Like back in school, would get injured personally. I remember there's a time I injured my shoulder, and the nurse tells me get a cheat and go home, and I'm like, go home to who? Take my.
That's actually true, man. They'll give you a cheat, and they're like, man, first go and deal with your thing.
Hey.
These days, schools actually take care of the.
Now schools do that.
That's surprising.
Schools do that, but now at the greater extent, a parent is actually going to call you and tell you, Alvin, my son has an issue with his ankle. What do you propose? Should he come home and get tested? Should he go for an X-ray? What should I buy him? Should I buy him an ankle boot?
Really?
These are parents. Like that's the difference we have today and what used to happen back then. So that's why I feel like we have a much greater chance of getting more from these boys right now than what we used to have back then.
Okay. Yeah. Just looking at your time, of course, there are so many of the young boys right now that have been looking up to some of the guys that were before them. Many of them are Uganda 7 stars and whatnot. In your time, who are the guys that you looked up to, especially when you are now a proper ego? Who are those guys that you wanted to maybe emulate your game around?
These were stories. When I joined St. Mary's College Kisubi, it starts off with stories. Okay, I used to watch these guys play.
There are always those
while in King's College Budo.
Those stories, the fairy tales, the folklores of the guys who were there before.
And I can just maybe mention 2 names. That's Ogwok.
Ogwok.
Yes, and a guy called Pivin. I hear so many stories. I watched Ogwok play. I think I didn't watch much of Pivin, but on any single day whenever I put on that Smack jersey, I was like, God, please help me play like this guy. Help me be able to give what this guy would be able to give. He was a top guy, and I believe he mentored very many guys. Because even when we left school a few years, as years go by, the role models keep changing.
Yeah.
Like right now, when you go to St. Mary's College Kisubi, everyone's going to tell you, bro, Adrian Casito, Timothy Chisiga, William Kore, Timothy Yodong. Those are the names these kids know. Like when they see them, they're like, I want to be like Timothy Chisiga.
Yeah, but as we just maybe start to deviate away from that smart rugby as a player conversation, I want to just look at it from this point of view. Of course, you played for the team, you won.
Yes.
SMAC has 3 trophies: 2009, 2016, 2019.
Yes, please.
But it has a heritage of a lot of rugby from, according to our stats, 1991.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be among 3 years of an exclusive club of guys that brought that trophy back? I know there's nationals and all that these days, but that there's something about that Central Schools trophy, which used to be called the Coca-Cola Championship.
Yeah.
It has evolved in the way it's called, but it is that Central Schools Championship. How does it feel to be among that class of few guys? Because I cannot even talk about it because I wasn't.
Personally, it's a bragging right. I'd love to tell you.
Definitely is.
Till date, whenever we meet with our fellow finalists at Hana, the likes of Kato, Nicholas, he's at Heathens, the likes of Buju, he's at Pirates. Like, we always share a joke and we're like, yo, Twavakuva, we took the league. And I feel like it's not something everyone can do. And I feel like winning the Central Schools League, it's something special. And we've been out of school for how many years? 2016 and 2024. That's about 8 years, I think.
Yeah.
But till date, I remember all highlights from the game. I remember the try we scored. I remember the tries we almost conceded. Like till date, and I can sit down in a conversation and I know ABCD happened in that game. So I feel like it's something special. It's something you can never forget.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate that during those times the games were not being recorded or anything, because there are so many of those moments that you'd like to relive. I mean, from the ones we watched last week when in the build-up to the final, I was talking about that year of 2006, the Felix Lubegas versus on our end, led by Andrew Barasa. Now, that's the time we were just coming into, we were in our Form 1. And, man, they looked like gods. Like, even if he's passing, you cannot walk on the same lane
you have to give him space.
He's going to the dining hall. How do you even be close to him when he's trying to get food? So, those guys were legends. But it would be nice to have a moment to watch some of those games again to maybe relive. And also for coaches and maybe for even media and record purposes, it would be nice to have those games. But unfortunately, we don't. But luckily enough, right now, of course, appreciating all the media partners that are in the game that really support and make sure that now, even when you're training for next year, you have games you can always review as you're planning for the next tournament, the next year and everything.
Sure.
Yeah, but one of the things that I've noticed that is becoming a trend is many of these young players that are now all of a sudden, there was a certain process, steps from being a rookie and one under 15, going up the ranks to being a senior player on your team, to now going to club rugby as a player, then eventually in the evening of your career, you become a coach, or you go into management. But I've noticed a trend, especially now with you and Adam Kabalega. Adam was captain of Budo. He chose to now go and become a chairman and start his own club, which is Eagles Rugby Club.
Yeah.
You have chosen to take the path of coaching so early, and which, of course, I know you're still playing, but it predominantly is what you're known for at the moment in rugby. So what really inspired you to say, you know what, let me add some little more stress to my life and become a coach?
Okay, my greatest inspiration in coaching goes down to the one and only Coach Bobby, as we call him.
Yeah.
Coach Bobby was a father, literally. Coach Bobby was a big brother. He was a coach, he was a mentor. When we joined Pirates in it was 2014.
Yeah.
And he always knew how you are. He always knew the problems you had in a way I do not know how.
Yeah.
He found a way of having you tell him. He found a way of having you inform him of anything that was happening around your life. And Coach Bobby is someone that would trust you, even say when the world wouldn't trust you. he would tell you, I've seen you do this, Alvin, I've seen you do A, B, C, D. Get onto that pitch and show me that you can, because I know you can.
Yeah.
So slowly by slowly, I started looking at him, and I'm like, one day I'd love to share with others the way Coach Bobby does. You find him having ideas about everything. You're like, Coach, if you're in such a scenario, you say, there are 3 defenders here, we're attacking and ball is here. And it's like, no, the easiest thing there is, this formula to use, run at this angle, we have this, and the space is going to open up.
Yeah.
Maybe once in a while you get on the pitch and such a scenario comes up and you try exactly what coach has told you about, and it's working out. And it's with that in my head I was like, you know what? I feel like I could be able to give off, not totally fully yet because I have a lot to learn, but I could give a few Coach Bobby vibes. And I was like, why not start it out from here?
Actually, what I was going to ask you, what's your style of coaching? Because like we talked about earlier on, there are different years from back then, different kinds of people, players, and also different times to what the current player is right now. But also looking at it from this way, that back then your typical coach was the Sir Alex Ferguson kind of coach, the hairdryer kind of coach. But then you see now there are a lot more Coach Bobby kind of coaches that are more interactive, more empathetic, their communication to these players is more simplistic and understanding, I want to say, rather than someone who is not sparing your emotions and just telling it to you straight. So for you, what kind of coach do you think you are?
When you ask that question, personally, I'd love to believe the coaching style I use is one closely related to that one that I picked from my mentor.
Okay.
I always try so hard to be able to allow my players to confide in me. I want them to be able to, get to me and tell me, Alvin, I have a problem, A, B, C, D. Alvin, maybe I do not have supper. Alvin, coach, help me buy me some data. Like, coach, we're going to the game. I feel like I'm a bit on pressure. I feel like I'm not ready for the game. I don't want them to be there and they're like, man, coach, truth is, this is after the game, I'm like, coach, I was on pressure before I went on the pitch and I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
I don't want that. I want them to be comfortable for one to walk up to me and say, coach, truth is, I'm scared of this game. What should I do? Then we can have a conversation in there with that kind of relationship. I wouldn't say I headed these boys and I'm like, I want you to do A, B, C, D. Actually sit down and discuss with them. And they tell me, coach, you want us to do A, B, C, D, but what if we try this? And I'm like, okay, you're saying we try this? We can give it a shot. If it doesn't work, we get back to what we do here and A, B, C, D. So it's more of that interactive and,
So for you don't have any hairdryer moments? Because at some point you need to lay the law down as a coach.
Yeah.
You don't have any of those moments?
Personally, I don't feel it works.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's more over. When you look at a coach like one of the most successful Champions League coaches, I should say, let me get to soccer, sorry for driving away from rugby.
Totally fine.
Is, to me, one of the most successful coaches in Champions League is, I forget the name.
Jose Mourinho?
No, not Jose Mourinho. Former Zinedine Zidane.
Yes.
And if you notice Zidane's relationship with Ramos, with Cruz, it's like they were literally brothers. Ramos is running to the touchline and he's grabbing him around the neck, and they're having a small chat there at a medical break during the pitch. And Ramos once came out and said, it's on record, that one of the things that helped them in that tenure when they won those 3 back-to-back was they were playing for the coach. Like, at times it would get personal and they know we cannot let Zinedine down. Like, he's been there for us. We have to do it for him on the pitch. Yeah,
that's very interesting. And when you look at it particularly, when things are tight, how ideally do you have any particular people you talk to at the moment when you need maybe consultation, when you need to understand something? But of course, you're a young coach, there's still a lot to learn. But do you have any particular guys that you talk to at the moment? Of course, you did talk about Coach Bobby. Are there any others?
Yeah, the list, I would say the list is long, but I can mention out a few of them. I find so much consultation, especially when I'm dealing with the backline. Yeah, I'd love to share so much with Charlton and the ladies' sevens coach. He's a personal friend. We talk so much. We meet so often over the weekends, and we do discuss. And he always tells me, Alvin, here I feel like if you corrected this ABCD, this would be better. There is one. He's called Isaac Onyango. He's a former smarkist as well. I do share with him all the time, even because he also knows his boys a bit. Because at times he has a few sessions with me. So at times I'm making the team sheet and I'll share with him. I'm like, do you think we should go with this? And he's like, actually, this guy would be better coming off the bench from the bit I know about him. So let's do ABCD. And I could ask maybe the other person I usually go to and talk to is Timothy Chisiga, because this is one of the, I don't know, he's one of the most brilliant rugby chaps I know. Like, he knows the game to the script. He knows the game so well. So once in a while I have a chat with him. Once in a while I have him over at school, helping out with a few, and I learn so much from him. Yeah. So putting all that together is what helps me in whatever I do.
Okay. So just to now go a bit technical, Sunday, under 20.
Yes.
What do you think, from your opinion, went wrong?
One of the things that went wrong on our end is going off the script.
Okay.
Then away from going off the script, very many people came out and said we had very poor on-pitch decisions.
Okay.
But no one ever knows what's inside the
of course, we as people who are in media, as fans, we are going to make our assumptions or our judgments based on what we see.
Yes.
We don't know what's happening.
Personally, I'd love to believe going off the script is one of the things that hurt us the most.
Okay.
We had rightful on-pitch decisions. Now, take that from me. Very many people said, smart, poor decision making. They should have gone for 3. They should have gone for what? They could be right.
Yeah.
But we have a different philosophy. We have a different way of attacking things.
Is that the way you guys have been playing for the entirety of the week, of the season? That you reach some points and maybe you have a penalty in front of the post and you choose to scratch and play?
That's when I come and say going off the script.
Okay.
Penalty right in front of the post. One of the things we've been doing most of the times is a scrum down.
Okay.
Having a scrum down right in front there helps us, have separation in the defense, have a better attacking. We usually go for the kick when we want to, not when we when we have to, because we have.
But sometimes when you look at it, there is momentum that comes into play. Namilyango was leading 6-0. You had majority of the possession.
Yeah.
But they came, when the few times they visited your half, they came out with points.
True.
So don't you think that when it comes to momentum and maybe trying to keep into the game, that sometimes you have to maybe tweak a little bit and maybe go for the 3 points? You had your kickers all put the kicks in prior to the start of the game. But then, if I'm not mistaken, they attempted very, very few kicks in the game, which was quite weird.
But when you say that, I'd love to have everything. I'd love us to have everything on record.
Yeah.
How many times were we held up in the try area? How many times did we knock on at the try area?
But you also factor in conditions. If it was a dry ball and dry conditions, I totally understand. But it was a wet ball, and we know when it comes to wet ball, you play your territory, you get into the right territory, then when you've tried 1 or 2 times and it is not working, you go for the points. You get the points as much as possible. I felt like Smark was the better team. Smark played the better rugby for about 65 or 70 minutes in the game.
True.
But the errors that happened, I felt like they adjusted the momentum and the mindset of the boys, who now became had a little bit too much pressure on them, and now allowed Namilyango to channel that energy and smell blood and now punish.
Yeah, true. If we had gone for the 3 at a point in the game, it could have changed. The game had a point where it was 6-5.
Yes. I know, yes, you did get the try at that point.
Yeah.
The second half early.
There's a point the game was 6-5, and I think we got a penalty, and we opted for the corner to go for a line out.
Yes.
This is now where I say we go off script.
Yes.
Because the idea is we knew we could dominate in the forwards. And the open pitch place showed so. So we knew if we went for the corner and had our line out, we knew what we had to do at the line out to get us going forward. But getting the line out, we do otherwise. So it now doesn't make sense leaving the 3 and going for the line out. That's what everyone out there sees. But down to what we had planned, we knew what we wanted from the line out. The game reaches a point and it is, I think it hit 11-5.
Yes, was it 11-5
Yeah,
or
11-5.
14-5? Because there were two crucial moments. The first one at 6-0, which of course, okay, I can say Smack came back from that because they did score a try early in the second half. But then there was that second one where that penalty could have made it a one-score game rather than a two-score game.
That's at...
It was, I think, about either 11-5 or I think it was 14-5.
It was 14-5?
Yes.
Yeah, 14-5.
And then
14-5.
there was if they had put in that penalty, it would have, which was straight, it would have been 8. And then you come back and now you hunt for the try you want, which would have put you ahead.
Yeah, I think that's now when the so-called picture that's going around social media of the Namilengo fullback showing, the held up. At that point, we had already smelled some blood and we knew where the weakness was.
Yeah.
And we pounded there and got to the try area, and it was, I think, a lapse in concentration.
Yeah.
Whereby the ball carrier at the moment carries ball in with the arm that has the ball into contact and falls in. But ideally, if he had carried how we've been trying to carry, he would have actually crossed the whitewash, and it would have been 14-10, waiting for the conversion. Yeah, so that's a dynamic I want us to look at. Yes, going for the 3 is good. We should have done it. We should have on very many occasions. But it wouldn't have been the same story if what we did had actually come out as right.
I understand the importance of being a maverick sometimes, but don't you think sometimes, that old school thing they say is take the easy points comes into play where you're like, you know what, man, let me just take these 3 points and then we shall see what happens later. Yeah, that's what I personally think anyway, but of course I'm not the coach.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Taking the 3 is important and essential. We've done that before and we've used it and it's helped us. But for this game in particular, we felt like that would have been the right way. It didn't go our way, so we get back to the drawing board and we now get to assess all the options we had and see how to go forward.
When these boys are on the pitch, how much of a control do you have on what they decide to do? Do you let it be controlled by their leadership group on the pitch, or do you at some point maybe send the water and tell them you do this at this point?
This is edge grade rugby to start with. We are mentoring the captains of the country tomorrow, the players of the country tomorrow, and we let them decide with a minimal guidance from our side. The players on the pitch, we are trying to, groom the future captains of the country, trying to groom the future players of the country. And if we do look at the international setup, it's more or less the coach's duty is to prepare the squad for the game and let guys go out and express themselves. You're not going to be, schooling them or policing them on the pitch, kick the ball, don't kick now. So I feel like you start them young so that they know when we get the penalty and we go for the poles, if it goes in, it's actually a positive. If we do not kick and our opponents kick, they can win the game. So you start them young and they get this whole, mental maturity. And as a captain, maybe he knows next time that when we're in this position, the game, we're maybe 6 points down. If we go for 3, we're now 3 points down. Because on the bench, usually the message that we send out to the players on the pitch is maybe we, territory kicking, for example, we are kicking straight into them. Let's look for more space. But it's never that, no, you didn't go for poles on that penalty, so the next, no, we never do that.
Okay. That particular game at full time, after the game ended, when you got a chance to talk to the boys, what was the first thing you said to them?
I told them, thank you very much for the rugby. You played for 80 minutes. I was so excited. The score wasn't on our side. Yeah. But I was so excited that the boys had actually played beautiful rugby given the conditions they were in. Was so disadvantaged that we had so many 50-50 knocks on the team. Yeah. Boys that actually played with a few knocks, pains and whatnot. And I was so proud seeing them push through the 80 minutes of such a heated final without having to complain that coach, I feel like I can't go anymore. I feel like, because I kept asking them, for the ones that I knew I had knocks, I kept asking them, do you feel you've given enough? Should we let someone else give it another run? And they're like, no, coach, let me push through. Okay. So that maturity, the love and the respect for one another that they showed on the pitch, and the quality of rugby they displayed vis-a-vis the conditions that were available, made me so proud of the team. I was so happy for each of them, and I believe the sky is the limit for most of them. They are actually very top players.
Is your training only about what's on the pitch, or do you get a chance to also train them as men, impact or mentor them as men in their life decisions, in their character and the way they carry themselves? Is the training only limited to the pitch, or you and your team move on to beyond pitch stuff?
Like I said earlier, one of the trainings I did prior to joining coaching of SMAC was age grade rugby coaching and training. It's not literally about push and get that win, like regardless of what happens. All I'm training used to give me the win on the pitch. No, that would actually be getting the win on the pitch and pushing for a losing end on the other.
Yeah.
Because these are young boys, these are 17-year-olds, 18. They literally have little they know about life.
Yes.
So it's more of, in everything you do, we use rugby to give them the picture about life. Yeah. You need to be you need to be a man of your word as a rugby player. Yeah. That applies in life. You need to be someone that loves what you cannot play rugby if you do not love the sport.
True.
There is no way a guy comes running at you and you put your body if you do not love the sport. So you have to do whatever you do with love. That now comes down the life aspect. And those are the things we look at when we are training these boys at SMAC. It's not just basically pass the ball, kick, tackle, run, no. But everything we do here, the discipline, right? You have no right grabbing an yes, he has given you a height. You have no right touching him. You have someone on the pitch to defend you to that, who is the referee. So that whole discipline part of life. Because, for example, you come out here, say, Ruben, I take your phone and I'm running, you beat me up. I've stolen your phone, which is a crime, but you've beaten me up, which is also a crime. Yeah? So that's not where the whole life bit comes in of. When we are training the rugby, we are trying to teach these boys how we're supposed to live our lives, how we're supposed to make it in life. Because it's from there that, you get to have relationships with different people. They get to find you someone that is resourceful, someone that's trustworthy, and they can work with you. And rugby would have won in the end.
Yeah. Which
is something that we fight for as everyone that's in the rugby fraternity. I'm sure you fight for the same.
Yes.
Rugby should always win. Yeah.
Okay. So, in regards to, first of all, even before I get to this, I've seen a couple of old boys say that they were not happy with the ref's performance. What do you have to say about the ref's performance on Sunday?
Before kickoff, I did check the ref's son, and he wished me a good game. I told him good game as well, because the ref also plays for 80 minutes. No one knows that. Yeah? He's not there he's also playing actually for 80 minutes. He's playing. Because people are watching him, he has assessors watching him, people that are going to evaluate him at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Who is not the fans, who is not the coach, who is not the players, but his superiors.
Yeah.
So at the end of the game, I did shake hands with the referee, and we are all human.
Yeah.
There is no way we are very righteous in everything we do. And there's a point the referee comes and washes his face, because there's mud in his face from the players running about.
Yeah.
So you do not expect him, it's a muddy pitch, you do not expect him to see every single thing as it is. Yeah. And you expect him to give these boys maybe a benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because it's a wet pitch. Maybe he's gone down with the ball, it looks like a knock-on, but it's close to his hands, it's present. Maybe it's not a knock-on. So anyone out there that that's watching with passion is going to look at it and say, you know what, the ref cheated. But when you get down to the technical aspect of the game, you're going to understand he's trying to be human. He's trying to let the game flow like it's a wet pitch. Yeah? You're not going to officiate this game as how you'd officiate
dry surface.
Yeah, dry surface and whatnot. So personally, I had no issue with the referee. Sunday's game, I earlier said I don't believe in luck, which I'll still maintain. I don't believe in luck. Sunday's game, we literally played ourselves away from the trophy, which I find as a positive, because it helps us mature mentally now. We set goals at the beginning of the year. We've fallen short of our first goal. We have 2 goals we're still headed for. That's 2 tournaments. And I believe last year we were wounded twice. That's Schools League and the Nationals. And we got the final goal we set. This year we've missed out on the first, and I'd love to believe we don't need a second to learn. I believe we're going to go for a second goal and we shall be able to achieve it because of our first. I feel like it should be good enough motivation, it should be good enough momentum, and it should be good enough a learning experience for the rest of the team.
Okay. Social media, negative comments versus positive criticism.
Thank you very much. I love that point.
How are you dealing with that? I mean, I want to be honest. I have seen a couple of things happening. I have seen some people even come out and say Nkamba's bottled it, Nkamba's not done well. But then there are also those people that come and maybe point out something here and there. Maybe some people even say you did well. So how are you handling that? Because I was sent a screenshot. I think, of course, we're all human. We're definitely all human.
Yeah.
There is, I think, at some point, maybe on that particular evening, where maybe it got a little bit to you, and there was a response to one of the smartest, whatever. Because I was particularly sent that screenshot. I will not display it, but yeah. So, what's your response?
My first response is statement that came out fast. When we're dealing, you see, the problem is this era of the social media era, it doesn't actually get to identify what we are working with. I'd love to tell you the most vulnerable group of people in sports. You've seen it worldwide. You look at Premier League stars, 18-year-olds being put on TV and whatnot. He hits 20 and he can't even control a ball.
Very early.
Yes. So I look at the boys we're dealing with. These are all under, we say under 20, but most of these boys are 19, 18 years. Yeah. So one of the things I'm so much against is someone coming out to call out on a player in particular. I'm so much against that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like everyone else on social media, we should be mature enough. Like I don't want to say this out of say bad faith or what, but it's more of, let's be mature enough and know that we're dealing with kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an 18-year-old that you're saying he hasn't learned, he hasn't done what. He's a boy that has UNEB in 4 or 5 months. He's already emotionally down. Yeah. The least you can do is say smack bottled it. It is okay. Generalize it. But you come out and pick on an individual boy. He's going back to school. He has papers. He's already emotionally down. He's lost the final. He's in Form 6. He feels like it was on him that they all lost. Yeah. I feel, because I interact with these boys, I'm told, man, maybe they've gone for papers at school. Some don't even want to sit for papers. Some want to go back home. And then I feel like picking out straight on them, these are boys that they're not yet mature emotionally to take on all this. Yeah. And one of the comments I sent in one of the DMs of the people that was texting was, whatever you're doing, yeah, those boys played under me. If there's anything negative, write it out there. Put it, Nkamba Alvin fails to win.
Yes.
I'm mature enough. I know I'm going to drink my Nile special. I'm going to laugh at you because I know I have next year. I know I'm building something. I know what I'm doing. But you get into this boy that doesn't know. Like, he's going to look at what you're saying and he's going to believe it. You're killing his self-esteem. He's not going to believe in himself. He's going to be shy. And most importantly, these are the boys that we are trying to groom. We're trying to keep them in the sport. Yeah. And how we keep them in the sport is by supporting them. Personally, the other reason why I was disappointed is Namilyango goes on to win that game on Sunday, and I was a bit down for a few minutes. I talked to my boys, got done. I shared with very many of the Namilyango boys. I had a talk with the Namilyango coach, Emok and Payo. We had a discussion for a few minutes. Yeah. Because one, we're mature people, like, yes, it's hurt you and whatnot, but there's tomorrow, and you're not going to dwell on what has happened today. And I got these Namilyango boys and told them the same thing. You've won. Be excited today, tomorrow, but you have rugby for the future. Look at where you are bad, rectify that. It's going to make you better for tomorrow. Because it doesn't end today. It doesn't end at winning the Schools League. It doesn't end at bottling the Schools League. That's why I find it so wrong for someone that comes out and picks up a player. For example, Nkamba Alvin is a player. You say, Nkamba Alvin, dull, smart, he failed to do A, B, C, D, and whatnot. That boy does not know what you are saying. Yeah? So I feel like the best, like I said, this social media era, very many people are misguided in how they handle it. And you're not going to blame me because everyone has a right to post what they want, to send what they want. But mine is just a message of guidance. These are young boys that you cannot be hitting at direct. Yeah, they have so much and they sacrifice so much to be doing this. Like, they are not yet ready for this. Yeah. So whatever happens, I'm very okay if someone generalizes and says Smack bottled, Smack missed penalties, Nkamba Alvin failed to make the right decisions. I'm very okay with that. Yeah. But what I want to try and fight is, let's try to avoid picking on these boys individually. They are young boys. This is a schools league. This is not the NEL Special Premiership, whereby you're going to hit out at, say, a Michael Okorach. He's mature mentally, he's played internationally. So whatever you tell him here, he's going to look at you and he's like, okay, you're just in nonsense. I'm going to get back on the pitch next weekend and I'll rectify. But this is a boy whose exposure is close to minimal and he's literally eating off what you're telling him. If you tell him you're good, he's going to actually be confident going forward. You tell him you've shitted, he's actually now going to get back in his shell and he feels like, you know what, I'm not good enough. That doesn't help us as a country.
That's true. We did also run a couple of a post asking fans to ask a couple of questions that when I look at the questions, many of them have been responded to. Of course, even some were just leaving comments, like someone said, great guy. Another person said, one man against a group of professional coaches. He did well. We are proud of him. Which reminds me of one of your students that said that in the build-up that for us we have an advanced coach.
Yeah, I do remember that. And
the man on the other side was Makama. I was like, fans and students can be hilarious.
Yeah.
Someone was saying, why did the kids not go for polls? We've talked about that.
True.
Biggest boy among professional coaches. There seems to be a whole sentiment of that, of you taking on a number of coaches, of course, alluding to the fact that Emiliano had Ambrose Kakuru, had Emmanuel Rakira, had Ivan Magom, among others in their coaching bench. Someone is asking, when he changed his scrum half to play wing, why weren't they using that right wing to their advantage since they used it to score? Actually, there was a lot of space there, but I don't know why, for some reason, it was not noticed.
That's why I get back to my statement of, we did not play to the script. Yeah. The players felt safer playing around where the ball was and not sending that. Yet, actually, we had space on the outside. And one of the reasons, you get your could be best player and send him out to the wing is so that you could actually utilize him in more space. But we didn't utilize that. And just like I said earlier, these are all learning points. The boys have learned, and we have, we had a recap of that game that very night.
Yeah.
We watched.
Went back with the boys to Smack.
Yes.
Wow.
And we watched that game.
How's that feeling? Like, because I actually sometimes I also want to be a bit random and I tweet my things also.
Yeah.
So I did tweet something saying that, man, that awkward moment when you're in the bus and they under 15 and under 17 you've won your trophy, but the other 20 guys have not won their trophy.
You can't make noise.
So man,
you can't celebrate.
You're happy you've won, but man, your seniors have not won. It's so awkward.
And one of the things we've tried to groom at St. Mary's College Kisubi currently is unity. I'd openly tell you, the under 15 and under 17 teams did not actually celebrate their wins. I don't know, you were there. I was
with some of them in the stands.
They did not celebrate their wins.
They were not amused.
Reason being, I told them, one, when we go up there to play, yes, on record it keeps coming. Under 15 was won by this year. But I told them, we've gone out there as Smack.
Yes.
So the fact that we've lost as Smack, we have to sit back on the drawing board and we need to do something. Yeah. So personally, I did not. One of the things that made me happy is I did not send any directive. I did not tell them to do anything. But the under 15 kids get their trophy and they take a picture. Captain keeps the trophy, and boys go to their parents. Under 17s pick their trophy, take a picture, go to their parents. And this is kind of doing like, man, coach, hard luck. We need to sit down and see how to win this next year. They've won, but they're saying we need to sit down and see how to win this next year. And it's more because it's a group. Yeah, it's a group. It's like a machine. If one part of a machine is not working right, it's going to affect the rest of the machine, and with time, it's actually going to do what? Fail to operate. And that's how we are trying to do it at SMAC. That's why people come and ask, how are you doing? 2 finals, 2 years, 3 teams. It's more of the under 15 boys know what SMAC wants. Under 17 boys know what SMAC wants. Under 20, they know what SMAC wants, and we're building the same kind of system. Yeah.
Okay. So as we start to close,
Yes,
I have a couple of my quick fire questions, and we'll jump into a trivia. And this is just something you can really respond to as quickly as you can.
True.
As a player, maybe in your high school time or even now club rugby, who's the player you've enjoyed playing with?
A player I've enjoyed playing with, I would say Timothy Odong.
Timothy Odong.
Yes.
As a player, who's the opponent you have had the toughest time against?
Former Sevens captain, Eric Kasita.
Eric, yeah, big boy.
I saw stars one time when he ran into me, and that was the end of me.
Big boy,
Yeah.
I know.
Till date, I'll never forget that clash.
Yeah, as a coach, toughest team you faced?
As a coach, toughest team I've faced has been Butula Boys from Kenya.
I'll give you that one. I know you. I thought you were going
No,
to say
the Sunday game was an easy one. It wasn't a difficult game.
Hey.
It was a very easy game for us to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Rugby in Uganda. How can players get more support?
Support from what exactly?
Support for them to, let's say basically player welfare.
I feel like for us to get more support for the players, it gets down to the ruling body, which is literally the union. Because as an individual, you cannot go out and look for player welfare. So I feel like the union has done well. We've gotten more funds into the sport. They're funding everything we're doing currently for the clubs. They get money, the national teams, and the schools. But I feel like the union should look away from just the sponsorships to get tournaments running, because that's what I believe, that's what's there right now. All the money that's availed is for tournaments to run. We do not look at player A, B, C, D. Are they able to parent? Are they able to eat food off playing the game?
Yeah.
And I feel like we haven't dug deep enough to be able to get that.
Okay.
Yes.
High school rugby and the talent transitioning to club rugby, how can we increase the number of players we have in club rugby from high school? Because that gap there is where we lose so many of our talent.
I'm not going to explain, I'll just give points. Yeah, and there'll be points of discussion for very many people. 1, medical insurance. Yeah. Point number 2, motivation. Point number 3, awards and motivation. Yeah. Why should I play rugby? I finished school. Why should I play rugby? Yeah. These boys have no reason of playing rugby. They play for this school. I'll openly tell you, very many boys you've been in Namilyango. Very many boys in Namilyango play because it's Namilyango. I want to play for Namilyango. But now after I'm done with Namilyango, what reason do I have to play?
True.
After I'm done with SMAC.
True.
So I feel like we haven't given them a reason.
That's true.
Yeah.
Your biggest fear as a person?
My biggest fear as a person is, I should say, failing to get what I want.
Failing to get what you want.
Because I usually give it my all.
Okay. Then when we look at the fact that favorite food.
My favorite food. Muslims are fasting. I guess that's good enough an answer.
One thing people don't know about you.
One thing people don't know about me is I'm a very friendly person.
Very friendly person.
Yes.
Okay. Has anyone ever told you that you look unapproachable?
Yeah, very many people have.
Okay. I think you should smile more often.
I'll try my best.
Jumping into the trivia, I crafted these questions in particular for you because you're a coach and they are about coaches.
Yes.
Not necessarily all of them are about rugby, but they're about coaches. And there are 5. My first one, do you watch NBA by the way?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah.
You're going to suffer. Which NBA coach has the most rings? Okay, I'll give you a few hints. I'll give you that he coached the Chicago Bulls. He coached the Los Angeles Lakers.
Chicago Bulls, Lakers. I don't know. Grey hair? Does he have grey hair?
Yes.
Yeah, grey hair, bit short, puts on a black suit. He's tall. Then I don't know him.
Grey hair. White man.
I don't know that. The one I know is a bit. He's not short, but he's a bit short.
His name is Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
I didn't know that. 3-peat with the Lakers under Kobe and Shaq, and then also having a 3-peat with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. The second one is it's a scenario. Picture this scenario. The year is 1999.
1999.
And my player scores a last-minute goal to win a prestigious trophy and seal a treble. Who am I? The year is 1999.
1999.
My player scores a last-minute goal to win a prestigious trophy against the rival in the final.
Champions League?
I'm not going to give you that. This is very obvious.
1999. Who am I? Alex Ferguson?
That is true. Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yes.
The third one. Francis Odonga is a rugby player who formerly played with Rhinos. Which school did he play for besides Namiliango?
London College?
That is true. Which NFL... Do you watch NFL?
Yeah, I watch NFL.
Okay.
But...
Test your knowledge here.
Okay.
Which NFL coach has the most Super Bowl rings?
Is it Christian? Christian something?
Are you sure you want to lock that in as your answer?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, let me give you another clue. He was a coach to Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, that's a Christian then. I am not sure of the name.
His name is Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
New England Patriots. And then number 5, who was the All Blacks coach in the year 2012?
Oh, wow.
Are you an All Blacks fan?
I'm a Springbok.
Yeah.
Down to the blood.
But still.
All Blacks coach 2012. That was... if I describe him, can that work?
Try and we see.
Fat guy.
Most coaches are fat, so it's very generic. Is that okay?
Fat guy, white, and very reserved. I'm forgetting his name, but he's the one. I forget the name.
Is there any particular milestone of his that you can mention?
He won a World Cup or 2? No. He won a World Cup in the last year he coached the All Blacks.
The name is Steve Hansen.
Yeah.
But 2019 he did not win a World Cup.
He coached till 2019?
Yes, I believe so.
But yeah, Steve Hansen,
2011 to 2019, yes.
He did
He won 2011, he won
2015. Yeah.
Yes. And yeah, that is Idea Our podcast for today. Any last words for the people? As of course it's getting very, very dark. We're going for the quiz, but yeah. What would you like to say?
My last word to everyone out there is rugby is a beautiful sport. Rugby is more than just the 80 minutes on the pitch.
Yeah.
Let's support each other in the game. And one of the things that I want us to ensure that we do as we do rugby is let that battle last for only 80 minutes.
Okay.
There is more to it after the 80 minutes that we benefit from being one than being rivals after the 80 minutes. That's it from me.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, you've heard it from Coach Alvin Nkamba of Smack Rugby. one of the biggest rugby schools in Uganda. So much heritage on their end. Unfortunately,
if not the biggest.
Eh?
If not the biggest.
Okay, it cannot be the biggest because there's a number 12 somewhere.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll do a number 2 somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll do a number 2 in East Africa, and it will be 2-1. Right now,
We are looking forward to seeing that as well. But
Alright.
yeah, for all those that are watching the podcast, of course, we do have our merchandise, so look out for that. We also are at the Gardens Nigeria enjoying our now special. Every Tuesday they have quiz. Every last Saturday of the month they have their meat carnival. So those are the 2 highlights that you can look out for. But you can also join them any day of the week and just enjoy yourself with your favorite people. Otherwise, thank you for being part of another candid rugby conversation. My name is Ruben Kihumuro and we sign out. Cheers.